It's the ultimate travel guide from the people who know it best. Weekends with Yankee. We head toward the coast to the small town of Bremen, Maine. Tucked along the eastern side of the Pemaquid Peninsula. Arriving at Audubon Road, we prepare to see some of the Atlantic puffins that still nest here in Maine each summer. Joining us is the Puffin Man, Dr. Stephen Kress. He's the executive director of the National Audubon Society's Seabird Restoration Program. And since 1973, he's been working to restore the puffin population to these islands.
We've got about 8 miles from here to Egg Rock.
This is some of the most beautiful coastline in Maine, with granite ledges meeting the pristine waters of Muscongas Bay.
Yeah, this is about as calm as it gets. See
what we can do.
All right.
Stephen jumps into a smaller boat and heads toward the tiny 7-acre island of Eastern Egg Rock, which sits only 11 feet above sea level at its highest point and is home to the world's first restored Atlantic Puffin colony.
But just being surrounded by the birds is incredible. Because you're actually living in the colony with them. There's no escape. It's so nice.
This is where Stephen heads up Project Puffin.
Our plan today is to go right to the bird blinds, and we'll take advantage of the light and the birds early on.
For decades now, dedicated young bird enthusiasts have been working with Stephen to bring the puffins back to their historic nesting islands in the Gulf of Maine. And so far, those efforts are working. Maine is the only place in the U.S. to see Atlantic puffins. Over the years, Project Puffin has restored more than 1,300 puffin pairs to 3 Maine islands. This year, there are 178 pairs on Eastern Egg Rock. The Atlantic puffin, with its colorful beak and worried eyes, is a small bird that lives on the open ocean most of the year. It comes to Maine to breed in the spring and summer, nesting here on Eastern Egg Rock and catching fish to feed its young.
Puffins nested here until about 1887. In that year, puffins disappeared because people continued to hunt them for food and for feathers. Every bird was lost. The population on this tiny speck of rock was exterminated. I had this vision. Long ago, puffins used to dance over these rocks and fly in from the sea with their beaks loaded full of fish. And my vision was that the rocks were still here. Why couldn't the puffins return as well?
Here, Stephen, Island Supervisor Laura Brazier, and their team of young bird watchers monitor several species of birds.
We're monitoring 6 species of seabirds out on Eastern Egg Rock. We have the 3 tern species, common, Arctic, and roseate. We monitor Atlantic puffins, black guillemots, and leech's storm petrels that also nest here.
They head out day after day all summer long to check on the puffins and their tiny chicks, or pufflings.
Oh, he's tiny. Did he get smaller?
Weighing and measuring them and keeping track of their progress.
Any butterfish laying around in there?
Oh, I can check.
It'd be good to
Really take a good look when I was down there.
Yeah, because if his parents bringing in butterfish, he's probably not going to be able to swallow them.
Oh, you want to weigh?
Laura has fallen in love with the puffin, like many of us.
He is very cute.
And
Puffins are great. They're just such a charismatic seabird. And it's so easy to just sit and watch them for hours at a time because they are so charismatic and they'll interact with each other and they're curious. They're just so interesting to watch, and every day is different.
puffins nest on islands. They nest underground in either a soil or a rocky crevice. They usually have the same mate year after year. They both take turns incubating their single big white egg. And then they both take turns feeding the chick.
Like many coastal species, puffins are being affected by climate change, as the fish on which they depend head north to cooler waters.
I am concerned that if things warm up too much, puffins here could have an increasingly tough time, because we're seeing that in other parts of the world already. Even some of the largest puffin colonies in the world, such as in southern Iceland, they're having a tough time finding enough food. And likewise in Norway. And throughout Europe, the puffin is now listed as an endangered species because of rapid population declines.
But Stephen tells us he's still hopeful, and he'll continue to fight the good fight to bring more puffins back to Maine.
I wouldn't be doing this if I was not an optimist. Who else would put the time and effort into such a long shot as Project Puffin? I am an optimist because I think people are getting it. They are believing in what needs to be done. But we need more people to understand the links between climate and everything else on this planet, including ourselves.